welcome back to more black bass. I'm in the same place where I was. Let's see. Alright, I will come back to this place. I will check back frequently. And whenever we have a big bass here to be caught, I will make sure that I will show it off. But for now, let's get some fish. Alright, so let's head into the lily pads here. We'll see what John has to say. Alright, the lily pads are a good bass spot. Bass like to hide and feed here. Alright, so let's get a good lure. Obviously, it's frog. The frog is the best in the lily pads. The frog is a topwater bait. It does not go underwater at all. And I like areas where you can use topwater baits because the fish will come to the top and it'll be the brightest, and you can actually tell where it's just better overall. You can tell where he is. So let's go with a natural frog. May not be any fish here to catch. Let's see. Let me explain something really quick. Okay, these areas like this, I'm going to use the lily pads for an example. The area where you are can be one of 4 different areas. It can either be a lightly dispersed vegetation on the bottom half and then lightly dispersed vegetation on the top half, or light on the bottom, heavy on the top, heavy on the bottom, light on the top, or it can be all heavy. The area where I am right now, I can already tell that I'm in a lightly dispersed vegetation area on the bottom, and that's just from looking just where I am right now. The lily pads are widely dispersed right in front of me. Now each one of those 4 areas, the game calculates those as distinct areas. Now you could, back on the boat screen, you could move one little area, one little blip based on what you see in the bottom left hand corner of your screen, your map screen, and the game will calculate that you're in a completely different area. So alright, let's get the marker out. Alright, this is lightly dispersed. Alright, so you want to go straight ahead, and then about right here you can see this is a heavily dispersed. So the area that I'm at is lightly dispersed on the bottom and heavily dispersed on the top. So let's look around, see if we can find us a fish to catch. Okay. Alright, here's a black bass. This right here, this little graphic image, that's the fish that you're going to be looking for at this lake. It's that particular one right there. Those are the ones you're going to want to catch. Unfortunately, they're pretty small, but it doesn't matter because you'll be okay catching those kind of fish as long as you catch enough of them. Alright, there's a fish here. That, I believe, is either a crappie or a bluegill. I can't remember which one. In the Green Valley Lake, there's either that is going to either be a crappie or a bluegill. It won't be either one. It'll be one. It'll be that one. Because either a crappie or a bluegill is distinct to this particular lake. You don't want to go too far up. Where's my... Oh, there it is. Okay. Alright, right here is about as far as you can cast. If you go any further, there won't be any fish up here anyway. But right along here, this is about as far as you can cast. What I like to do is, I like to start right here, and then go to the right, move my way up. I'm going to go for this fish, most likely. But there could also be a fish here. Go up a little bit further. That's about as far as you can cast, and then you come back down and look for another fish. And I'm not seeing any more. So let's do it. Let's go for this fish right here. So you want to cast a little bit further from him. So let's aim about right here. Now, to cast that far, you're going to have to aim to the right and down. You can see on your power meter over there, moving, just holding to the right, the blue meter only goes a little bit, well, it doesn't quite go all the way down. But if you hold right and down, it'll move it past the marker meter. We want to go ahead and cast as far as we can anyway. So you push the B button, no, I guess it'd be the A button, to start your power meter, and then you push it again whenever you get down as far as you want to cast. So let's cast it out there, and you can kind of use the directional pad to aim your lure as it's in the air. You want to kind of go back and forth, just reeling a little bit at a time. That's pretty much the same for any kind of lure. John will tell you different, but all right, see that fish right there bit my lure, but I don't want him. So whenever the right fish bites your lure, you want to push down or push left or right. Try to get them lined up. And there you go. All right, so we got him. Once you hear some beeping, you want to kind of hold backwards to reel him in. Right, you can see the lure start to shake. You want to kind of push down, and that'll set the lure again. It's starting to shake again. You want to keep pulling down, keep pushing down on the directional pad, and reeling at the same time. And let up whenever you hear the beeping. All right, so I caught a largemouth, and pretty good weight. This screenshot right here tells me that he's at least 3 pounds. This is one of the bigger ones that you can catch at this lake. Now, he's only 3.6 pounds. You can catch a largemouth or a smallmouth. It doesn't matter, either one. They each go from a fraction of a pound up to 6 pounds. So I caught a largemouth that's 3.6 pounds. Alright, so right now we don't have any fish in the live well, so obviously he's going to be ranked number 1. And John says, alright, you caught your first fish. You got a bass on your first try. Awesome. Take a picture. He goes into the live well. Drop that one in the live well. Alright, so we're good. And we can check again, but I don't think I saw any more. If there was another fish here, he'd be probably in this area here. The maximum amount of fish in any one area I've ever seen. Okay, here's a bass. We can try for him. But remember, we've already caught a fish in this area, so this fish is going to be a little bit spooked. The game probably calculates some kind of probability that he'll go for our lure, and we can try it. We'll give it a try. Oh wait, I need to talk about one more thing. Alright, this fish has stopped, and he knows my lure's there because he moved whenever the lure came down. This fish has stopped, so chances are he's probably not going to go for our lure. If they stop, that's a pretty clear. If they obviously know that your lure is there and they stop, then that probably means that they're not going to go for it. They're spooked enough that they know something's up and they're not going to be biting right now. So push the A and B button together, and that's a quick reel. Brings it back in. Real quick, I forgot to go over something. When you cast, you're gonna need. It's just like in real life. When you cast a casting reel, you're going to need to kind of thumb the line a little bit. Otherwise, whenever the lure hits the water, you have a chance of getting a rat's nest. And a rat's nest is a big problem in real life and in this game. If you get a rat nest in this game, if it wads up on you, you could spend as much as 30 minutes getting the line untangled. I'm not going to demonstrate that, but I'm just going to make you aware that when you cast, you're going to need to tap the B button while the lure is still in the air before it hits the water. Let's see. Okay, I thumbed it 4 times. I think you only actually have to do it just 1 time. Let me try it. Let's do it 1 time. Yeah, and see, you're good. As long as you, whenever the lure's in the air, as long as you tap the B button 1 time, then you're good. You thumb the line, and that's good enough for the game. So, anyway, let's move on. Alright, pay attention to the bottom left corner. I'm going to kind of go into the other lily pads here. Now, I've moved pretty far into a good grouping of lily pads, so just being right here gives me a good probability that I'm in a different location from where I was before. So let's check it out. And he's going to say something different. And from now on, if I fish in any of the lily pads, this is what he'll say. The first time that you fish in a certain area, he'll give you a different explanation. From here on out, he'll just say this. He'll say, it looks like a good spot for big bass. No further elaboration. Alright, so I've come to an area where I'm obviously in light disbursement here. So I may actually be in the same area. No, I'm not. I'm in, this is lightly dispersed here as well. So, the game has calculated that I'm technically in a different area. So let's see if we can find us a fish. There's something there. Okay, there may be something here. Yeah, there's a fish right there. It looks like a bass too. So we're going to give this area a try. There's a... I wonder what that is. I can't remember. I believe that there's crappie in this lake. I think. I may be wrong. Maybe maybe bluegill. I'm not sure. I'm not gonna find out. Although I am curious. The AI script for any other type of fish other than a black bass is completely different. You could. I don't think they get spooked at all. I think if you go to an area where there's a northern pike, a walleye, and a crappie all together, I think you have just as much probability of just casting 3 times in a row and catching all 3 of them as you would anything else. Black bass are different. They'll get spooked. Let's try for this fish right here. I'm going to cast out there. Let's thumb the line a couple times. Now remember, thumbing the line will decrease the extent of your cast just a little bit. So if you can get away with just decreasing it, if you can get away with just pushing it 1 time, then you're probably okay. That way you'll get the full extent of your cast. Alright. If the lure gets to shaking too much, then you do have the chance of your fish getting off of your lure. But as long as you kind of, what I do is I kind of reel and pull at the same time. So you reel and pull at the same time. Alright, got another largemouth. And he's 4 pounds. Alright, that's good. That's a good thing. Good, catch more like this. Alright, John will, well, that's it for catching fish. He'll say that every time. let's check and see. There was another fish here, I believe. Yep, there's another bass. We can try. Let's give it a try. We'll know soon enough whether he's going to bite or not. I just always have the habit of casting right past the fish. That way they can kind of. That way you kind of get you give yourself a better chance of indicating earlier whether or not he's even going to bite the lure. Alright, it looks like he's a little bit lighter colored, so it looks like he's surfaced, so he knows it's there. Kind of go back and forth, just kind of reeling a little at a time. Let's try again. He did surface. If he surfaces, that means that there's a little bit of a better chance that he might go ahead and bite the lure. Let's see what he's going to do. Yep, he's right there. Okay. Yeah, looks like he's going to bite. He's on the surface. There, we got him. When they bite, you pull down as fast as you can. Try your best. You hear that beeping sound, you want to let up. You want to let up both on the directional pad and on the buttons. Also, you do have a power meter. As you can see, mine is blue. Blue means that I'm strong. That means that I've got strong stamina. He's moved from blue to yellow. Yellow is an indication that he's beginning to tire, and then he'll get down to red, and then red just indicates that the fish himself is completely worn out. And the same goes for you as well. Once we start catching these bigger bass, when we get to these other lakes, your power meter can go down too, and it can even carry over to your next fish that you catch. If there hadn't been enough rest time between your last fish and the fish that you're catching now, you could still be in the yellow, and you could start off that way and get down to the red. And once you're in the red, your chances of catching that fish decrease dramatically. And on the very last lake, believe me, there are some fish that are just, I think, virtually impossible to catch. So, good news. We've got a largemouth bass, approximate weight 6 pounds. 6 pounds, unofficially, is the biggest fish that you can catch in this lake. Other than that one little area that I was at earlier, you can catch a bigger fish there. But as far as the rest of the lake, unofficially 6 pounds, this is good. We've got this. That means we've got our 6-pounder. We won't be catching any more 6-pound, either largemouth or smallmouth bass. We've got our 6-pounder. That's good. We got 3 fish already. 3 good ones. So let's move along. Alright, we're at 8:44. It's been 30 minutes since we were at our spot over here. So let's check our spot again. Maybe, just maybe, you have to get it just right. You have to line your boat up right there at that outcropping of lily pads. Let's see. Yeah, we've got brush at the bottom. Let's move a little bit closer. We might have gone too far. Let's get a little closer. Alright, there it is. There it is. Alright, let's see what we got here. And he says the lunkers like the deep water weeds. Lunker is just another name for a big bass. And we're in the right spot. So let's move straight up. because this particular fish will only be right here. And that is not a bass. Unfortunately, that is a walleye. I don't want to catch a walleye, because if I catch anything here, when I come back after there's been another 30 minutes change, then my probability of catching a big bass here is going to decrease dramatically. So, no big deal. Got plenty of lake. Alright, we're at 20 minutes. Let's go ahead. Let's save the lily pads for a little bit. The next place we could go is the open water weeds right here. We could try this area, but one thing that I want to do, I want to show this off real quick. Don't get too far into it. Let's head to the shoreline here. Alright. This right here is not here. Over here. Alright, this little outcropping of tree line right here. You want to line your boat up just like that. Just like, dang it. Alright, hang on. Alright, just like this. You want to line your boat up just like that. You want to drive directly into the bank. Stop right here. Alright, so you want to cast. It says there is something in the trees. Oh my god, what could it be? It's a nice lure. You're lucky. Add that one to your tackle box. Let's use this lure. Alright, cool. Okay, quick explanation. At each lake, alright, let me go to my tackle box real quick. Alright, John says use the swisher under the trees, and he's right. That is the best lure to use here, and it is another topwater lure, and it's a good one. Move it like a bug falling from a tree. Da-da-da-da-da. We know how to move our lures. It's the same with anything. Alright, attach lure. Alright, let's just pick natural because we're going to pick a swisher. Alright, so you start with these 8 lures right here. Alright, because we found a lure in the tree, we get the vibrating lure. And we don't just get the bright or the natural color, we get both of them. And I'll show you here. Let me go back. Yeah, see, we get the blue and the natural. We get both of them. At each lake, if you're lucky enough, there are certain areas where you can find another lure. And those 4 lures will fill out your last 4 spaces over to the right. The 4 spaces to the left are the lures that you get whenever you don't have John anymore. He'll just give them to you for free. You can take John on the first lake and in the second lake. And then after that, when you either choose not to take him or you get to the 3rd lake and you just can't take him anymore, he will give you 4 lures, and they will go in the slots to the left here, the 4 slots to the left. And again, you'll get the bright and natural versions of each lure. Let's see. Alright, so let's pick natural. The vibrating lure, unfortunately, I've never found any real good use for it. It's just an Easter egg. It's something you can get. and you can try it out a little bit if you want to. But I mean, you would think that it would be good right here into the trees, because obviously somebody lost it in the trees. But it's really not. It's a deep water lure, and it's the equivalent of a rattle trap, basically. And you know, anybody that is familiar with fishing knows that a rattle trap is not that's a deep water lure. And not deep water necessarily, but it's an underwater lure. It doesn't surface at all. It's not like a crankbait that has a lip on it that stays on the top, and then whenever you reel it in, it dives. It's a strictly underwater lure, and it's fun to have. You know, it's fun to, you know, for purposes of completion. I will be showing at each lake that we go to. I will be showing the lure, the location and the lure that you can get at the you know, to completely fill out the tackle box. So anyway, enough about that. Let's pick a swisher and let's check it out. This is a good place. I like being here. Yep, there's a black bass right there, and there's a bluegill, I believe, maybe a crappie. I'm not sure. I'm gonna have to check on that. I'll do it off screen. Well, let's go after this guy. And again, here at the trees, there's 4 different areas of the trees that the game calculates that you're going to. And we're not casting very far, so all you really have to do is hold to the right, and you'll do a sidearm cast. You don't want to cast too far here, because so you'll get up in the trees. Now, unlike other games, I don't think you'll actually snag. I've never snagged in this game. You'll just cast up in the tree, and then whenever it gets to the end, you'll just fall into the water. Okay. Looks like we spooked him a little bit, so let's try casting again. Alright, I gotta stay out of that tree. Come on over here. As you can see, the color in the water has changed, or the fish that I'm going for, his color in the water has changed. He's become brighter, which means that he has surfaced, and Swisher is a surface lure. So here we go. He sees it, and he'll be trying to bite it soon enough, hopefully. Alright, come on. Alright, there we go, we got him. Alright, so he's gone from blue to gray, now he's at yellow, so he's tiring pretty fast. And just like that, we got him. Ah, we got a little one. 2.2 pounds. We can probably do better than that. So right now he'd be ranked number 4. And our total weight is 15.8 pounds. That's not bad. Once we fill out 5 decent sized bass, then we'll probably be ready to weigh in. It doesn't take just a real big overall weight to win this lake. It's not too hard. Alright, let's see. I want to catch one more fish before I hit 30 minutes. I'm going to go ahead and go over anyway. I'm just having to explain stuff so much that, yeah. Alright, let's try here. Alright, when you push the X button, then you look in the bottom left and you know that you're in the trees. And that'll be the area that you cast at. Now if I was too far out, like say if I backed up a little bit, it looks like I'm still in the trees, but it's gonna say right there I'm in the open water. We don't want to do that. want to make sure we're in the trees. Alright, and John now says, the shore trees shade the water. Bass like it here on hot days. Well, 62 degrees, it's not exactly hot, but we'll give it a try. Don't snag the line in the trees. Well, you can't snag your line in this game, fortunately. So let's look around. Yep, we got a bass. But, no, that's a crappie. Alright, so let's go for this guy right here. He's surface, so alright, we got him. Alright, I can say with 100% confidence that any fish like this that you snag, you can catch it. There's no chance of impossibility. And we got a little one. Yeah. Now that I think about it, I can kind of remember always just catching small fish in the trees, so maybe we need to head somewhere else. And like I was saying earlier, normally I make a counterclockwise rotation around this lake. I go from the lily pads to the topwater weeds, which would be these. Let's catch one more fish and then I'll call him that. Alright, we're in the weeds. John says here is one of the weed beds. Bass like feeding in this spot. So, I'm going to go to our tackle box. And John will say, use a weedless lure. Well, try a jig and pork bait or a spinner bait. Alright, so, you know, like I say, obviously you can't snag in this game, so it doesn't really matter if you pick a weedless lure. I kind of like spinner baits a little bit better. You can use a jig and pork if you want to. Either one is equal probability of catching a fish here. I just kind of like the spinnerbait better. It's a underwater lure, it doesn't surface, so you're going to want to, whenever you cast, you're going to want to watch for that fish to go a little bit dark. Alright, that's not a bass, that's a walleye. That's a walleye. That's a bass. Alright, so we'll go for him. And again, you can't snag, so don't even worry about that. So let's cast and see if we can catch this bass here. Probably will. Let's get off the weeds, and now, as you can see, our depth is going down. We're down to 7 feet. The lake's 7 feet deep. So he's darker now. And he is at gray, and he's gone to yellow. He's switching back and forth. And it looks like we got him. He's turning a little orange. That he'll be red, or if he completely tires out, his little meter will say red, or it'll show red. We got him. And we got a smallmouth this time. He is 2 pounds, so he is tiny. He's only 0.2 pounds larger than our smallest fish. He's ranked number 5 right now. So the 1.8 pounder that we caught back at the trees, he will be cold automatically, and this one will take his place. So we got us 4 largemouth and 1 smallmouth. Alright, it's 9:40. It's been 30 minutes since we've been to the one spot that I talked about earlier, so let's head back there and check it out. Yep. Alright. Let's see if we got us a big bass here. And we don't. That is not a bass. That is a walleye. Again. Probably the same one from earlier, unfortunately. The difference between a walleye and... Now, if there was a big bass here, he would look very similar. He would be a little bit shorter, and his body would be a little bit wider. And I've just played this game enough that I can tell the difference between a walleye and a black bass. So, again, we don't want to fish here because we want to make sure that the probability of catching the big bass here is as high as possible. So, I'm going to cut the video here. We're at 36 minutes, and when we come back, we'll do some more fishing, and depending on how things go, I may go ahead and, well, no, I haven't showed off the rest of this lake yet. I do want to show off the reeds, and I want to show off a couple of little other areas that the fishing's not quite as good, but it's another area to show off. So, but I do want to show off the reeds because the reeds are a good place to catch bass too. So, appreciate everybody watching, and stay tuned for another episode of Bassin's Black Bass. Later.